A career in the Army Reserve can develop one's skills as an individual and as a trained soldier of a unit. The University of Newcastle's Company Officer Production Unit today displayed its artillery weapons, which include a 105mm howitzer weighing around 2 tonnes that has a firing range of more than 1,100 metres. The guns and vehicles on display are to give prospective recruits the chance to talk with officers and NCOs about life as a trained soldier. Those interested are welcome to contact any Army depot in the Newcastle area.
The bewildered giant petrel found himself in the care of the Espy family at their home in Kilburn Bay this afternoon. Reenest and his son Michael found the bird off Swansea on Saturday evening.
Well, how we come across it is we nearly ran him down with the powerboat, and we stopped then, and we decided to pick him up, bring him in the boat, have a look at him, and he seemed to have difficulty in flying when we let him go, like he just went back in the water again. So.
The Vice President of the Hunter Bird Observers Club, Wilma Barton, was called in to care for the bird.
The
giant petrel may be exhausted after having been blown far from home by this week's gale force winds.
Put him in the box there too, isn't it?
Asking to find it to contact Washington in the United States.
Well, it's got an American band on, so it's probably from one of the islands down south, Macquarie Island or Heard Island, because
in the Antarctic region.
Yes, it's possible it was banded as a chick.
The giant petrel will now be given some time to recuperate before being released.
The Newcastle and District Table Tennis Association gave details of the new tournament at a special function in Newcastle Tattersalls Club. The tournament will be sponsored by Crossroads Mitsubishi on the weekend of August 24th and 25th at the Lake Macquarie Sports Centre, will put Newcastle on the map in international table tennis. Newcastle has already seen the best in Australia in action in past tournaments, but this time they'll be up against the top Korean and Polish players. Men and women will contest the upcoming event, but Newcastle's main winning hopes rest with former national champ Paul Pinkovich and Gary Haberl, who has just returned from 10 months of competition in Sweden. Haberl has never been beaten in a championship final at the Lake Macquarie Sports Centre, as he thinks he'll be able to keep his record intact.
The last couple of years I haven't had the competition I will get in the next few weeks, so I'll be hoping so, but these Koreans are very good, and I lost to the number 2 a couple of years ago, and the number 1 is very good. So I think it'll be a very big challenge for me.
Yes, it's certainly going to be a challenge, and it must be exciting for you to have such a big tournament in your own backyard.
That's right. I train there every day, maybe 5 times a week, and I'm very used to the conditions. Koreans won't be used to it, and I hope I can do well against them.
To go ballooning, you've got to be prepared to be up with the chooks and to brave the freezing chill of dawn. And you have to pitch in. First cold, then hot, is puffed with the balloon's huge envelope. first hot air balloon was flown by the Montgolfier brothers in 1783. Today, technology has provided strong synthetic fabric for the envelope and a reliable LP gas burner. But passengers still ride in the time-proven wicker basket. To go up, the pilot simply triggers the burner. Hot air rises, so does the balloon. To wander whichever way the breeze blows. Balloonists choose the time of day, early morning, evening, when the wind is light, to set out on what's been described as an aerial nature walk. Hundreds of days of burst the burners, there's absolute silence. The only sounds those that drift up from the earth. Peter Vizard, just back from the Ballooning World Championships in the United States, is a dedicated balloonist. Shortly he's off to China for a flight to commemorate the Long March.
Yes, this will be a first for us, first in China, and about the second only time that Westerners have been permitted to operate a hot air balloon in China. We're making a book together with Kevin Weldon and Associates as a commemoration of the 50th anniversary of the Long March with the Red Army.
When it's time to come back to Earth, the balloon pilot simply lets his craft sink slowly as the air cools. Choosing somewhere pleasant for a champagne breakfast, one of ballooning's great traditions.
The existing formula
the Minister
is
for Roads,
biased
Laurie
towards
Brereton, said he was
well-developed
extremely
areas,
disappointed by
and
the
it does
federal
not
government's
provide
decision to
sufficient
continue with
funds
the
for
old
the very
road funding
needy
formula
areas,
for at
particularly
least
the growth
another year.
areas of the state.
Mr
We
Brereton
believe
said it
that
was
road
biased
funds should be
towards
distributed
well-developed
on a
regions
needs-based
and
formula,
failed to address the
and
needs
we
of
hope
growth
by the
areas.
previous
However,
ministers
Federal
of
Transport
roads in
Minister
New South
Peter
Wales,
Morris, who arrived
and
back in
agreed upon by the
Newcastle
previous
last
federal
night,
Minister for Transport.
said Mr Brereton's
In this case,
proposal did not
what
have
I've
the
decided
support
is
of
since
local
we haven't
government
got that
bodies.
agreement, there has been no agreement from local government. In fact, there's been widespread opposition to the proposals put forward by Mr Brereton. Now, in those circumstances, the fairest and the responsible thing to do is to continue the existing formula for 1 year and ask the Local Government Association, the Shires Association and the Minister in New South Wales to sit down together and work out a formula that is agreeable to all.
Now, Mr Brereton claims the present formula is biased to inner Sydney suburbs and well-established local roads. Do you disagree with this?
Look, it doesn't matter what formula have. There will be somebody who will say, well, it's to their advantage or to somebody else's advantage. That will always be the case. The fact is that formula was put forward by the then New South Wales government, by his predecessors, and agreed upon by federal government. What he's putting forward now is widely opposed right across the state by local government, and we want to see in a fair way that the money we're going to provide to local government goes to local government on the basis of agreement and consensus, not on the basis of compulsion.
The most recent criticism of Port Stephens Shire Council's Salamander development has come from Nelson Bay real estate agent John Reid. Mr Reid says it's the worst subdivision he has seen in 33 years in the industry. Shire Clerk John Walsh says this criticism is unwarranted.
It's a rather engrossing claim and a very sweeping claim, and I don't really know why he said it. I think he might be over-exaggerating, certainly is in my view, but I'm quite astounded at the claim, actually.
What about claims that it's poorly drained, that the roads are narrow and poorly constructed, and that the whole development was planned in haste and executed in haste?
Well, in relation to the last bit, the planned and executed in haste is current. Exercise has been going on since about March 83, so I think it's very hard to claim that haste has been done. The construction has been in accordance with normal construction requirements, and therefore I don't think any substance can be made of haste in that regard. In relation to the poorly drained, But imagine first some water lying behind some rural residential allotments, and in relation to that, it is caused by some mounding at the rear of the allotments, and we're in the process of constructing a drain which will drain that water and solve that problem. So there is no drainage problem there when this work has been carried out.
The Salamander project has also been criticised on ecological grounds. The development surrounds Mambo Swamp, and there are fears its flora may be threatened. However, Mr Walsh says a large area of land has been excluded from zoning proposals, while the impact of development is assessed.
The government won't release that area around Mambo Creek, and certainly council won't seek the release of it, because we've got no desire to damage the ecology of the area. It's our area. We don't want to damage it.
To go ballooning, you've got to be prepared to be up with the chooks and to brave the freezing chill of dawn. And you have to pitch in as the air, first cold, then hot, is puffed into the balloon's huge envelope. The first hot air balloon was flown by the Montgolfier brothers in 1783. Today, technology has provided stronger synthetic fabrics for the envelope and a reliable LP gas burner system. But the passengers still ride in the time-proven wicker basket. To go up, the pilot simply triggers the burners. Hot air rises, and so does the balloon, to wander whichever way the breeze blows. Balloonists choose the time of day, early morning, evenings, when the wind is light, to set out on what's been described as an aerial nature walk. Apart from the occasional burst of the burners, there's absolute silence. The only sounds those that drift up from the earth. Shortly, he's off to China for a flight to commemorate the Long March.
This will be a first for us, first in China, and about the second only time that Westerners have been permitted to operate a hot air balloon in China. We're making a book together with Kevin Weldon and Associates as a commemoration of the 50th anniversary of the Long March with the Red Army.
Ballooning, I suppose, was really man's first attempt at aviation. Why the rebirth of interest?
I think modern technology, and it's an adventure sport, but it actually is, you can make it your own level of adventure. It can be very sedentary. It can be just like an aerial nature walk, where you pick a calm, quiet morning and you just clip across the treetops, or you can set yourself a very high level of adventure. You can try and cross an alpine range or do something very, very difficult. So you set your own level.
Time to come back to Earth, the balloon pilot simply lets his craft sink slowly as the air cools.
We're going to hang up.
Somewhere pleasant for a and ballooning straight to the distance.
Mother Earth. And you go, Amen.
The Australian skydiving team is presently engaged in intense practice at the Luscantire airstrip just west of Maple. The four-man team plus one reserve is Chris Bramhill of Newcastle, Ray Morgan of Wollombi, and Sydney-siders Graham Jeffries, Dave Flood and Cole Porter. They call themselves the Stillwater team, named after a mate who had a skydiving accident. Boarding the plane, they drill in how they'll leave the aircraft at 9,000 feet. It looks daredevil stuff, but these experts leave nothing to chance. There's also a bit of the showman in them, as later they demonstrate peeling off from a stacked formation. And they are accurate, which is what they'll need to be if they are to beat up to 30 countries in the world titles in Yugoslavia beginning on the 15th of next month. Spokesman for the team, Chris Bramhill, explains what the world event requires.
In the competition in fours, there's a working time of 35 seconds, And in that 35 seconds, it's up to the team to do as many formations set before the competition, and the highest score after 10 rounds wins the comp.
So it's a little bit like aerobatic flying, I guess. You've got a fair amount of liberty, if you like, to try certain stunts that others may not even try.
Well, as I said, the competition's already drawn beforehand, so it's up to you to fly as fast as you can and maybe try tricks that no other teams tried, and just go for it like that.
Well, comparing yourself with, say, maybe the favourites, Canada and America, do you think you've got enough tricks up your sleeve to match them?
I think we have. I think we're getting there. We're up to the standard that the US just did at their national, so we're pretty confident.
Souths have the psychological advantage as their recent form has been more impressive, significantly since they recruited David Howe and Peter Duggan. Coach Ken Shine will tell you how his influence has had a marked effect as he leads from the front and can settle matters of tactics while the game is in progress. And he is a winner of unbounded commitment. He is a hub round which the talents of others spin. They could go further than this game. Curry have had only one cheering result lately. They beat Cessnock. And that spells trouble for South, as it proves that if they fire, they can beat anyone in it. Their key players, the way I see it, are Peter Brady and Rick Patrick, two tried and true campaigners who've done it all before and can again. I'm told they need more application, but if tomorrow's game fails to bring out that commitment, then they've gone far enough. For all that, it's even money from Iron with 21 hours to go.
Carl's going to go the length of the field as he gave away to Rotemar.
For people who work down or around mines, possibly the greatest life threatener is fire. Consequently, mines throughout the Hunter have strict regulations and drills to deal with fire if one should occur. These skills were put to the test in the second annual mines firefighting competition. Teams from throughout the Hunter competed in a variety of events, from the Strait knowledge test to events which involved extinguishing different sorts of fires that may occur at a mine. One of the popular events for spectators was the speed hose competition. Judges were from the Singleton Mines Rescue, and when the competition finishes today, it's believed the teams will turn to fluids stronger than water to quench the thirst they've built up.
Newcastle's first artist in residence was Michael Bell last year. This year's artist is a sculptor who after just 5 years has already started to make his mark. Ernie Hugh was born in Malaysia and educated in England. Being chosen unanimously by the selection committee, provides Ernie with accommodation and studio space at the historic Shepherd's Hill Cottage. He receives a 32-week stipend and an allowance for materials. In Ernie's case, mainly expensive marble, granite and wood. Already the cottage is dotted with examples of his work, and the large garden looks set to become an open-air gallery.
As my works personally will go, it will increase the size, a chance to experiment on the different types of materials I might be going into, and basically just have a straight run without any interruptions or worrying where I might get my next paycheck or my income or whatever.
Is the artist's life still a poor life in Newcastle?
I think it is very much so, but it's a happy one. Very happy. Personally speaking, I think I'm very happy doing this particular field of work.
The appeal to Lake Macquarie Council is the latest tactic in the residents' 3-month battle against the community cottage for juvenile offenders. Spokesman Brian Carling told the Alderman that the community cottage to be established in a house in Conrad Close was an invasion of the residents' privacy. They fear the effects of having juvenile offenders living next to their children and say the prospect has scared the community. The state government wants to use the cottage as a way to reform the juvenile and allow them to return to a normal life. Mr. Carling told the council that similar schemes overseas have failed. He says the proposal has already resulted in an increase in hooliganism in the area.
It's been noted that the place is there, and of course it's a very noticeable place. It stands out amongst all the other houses in the area, and the fact that it's now vacant and people are aware of that. Therefore we're finding now of a Saturday evening that young couples are coming around in carloads and drinking beer and throwing beer bottles into the driveways, and obviously looking for access as a means of accommodation, because it's been reported to them possibly that it is a halfway house and that there are means that they can stay there, and that is totally incorrect.
Why have you brought your case to council when it's a state government matter?
Well, we believe that the council can and should be part of the decision-making process of this particular home. We don't see that they should be left out of it. We feel very angry the fact they haven't been consulted, because we feel that they're just as they are responsible for us, the community, and the safety of the ratepayers and the security of the people in that area.